All right, so welcome everyone to InfluenceHer presents the Business Retreat 2.0, the virtual experience event. Our mission at InfluenceHer is very simple. It's to connect women influencers who are purposeful and passionate about building relationships with other women. I am your host, Tyaisha, also the founder of InfluenceHer. And today we are talking to the Biz Lawyer, Rosina Pierce of RJ Pierce Law Group. The Biz Lawyer has dedicated her practice to helping business owners secure their brands with trademarks. Rosina has filed nearly 100 trademarks to date and has pledged to help at least another 100 women entrepreneurs secure her legacy during Women's History Month. So I'm really excited to have the Biz Lawyer, Rosina, here with us. So Rosina, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I am good. I am fine. But I have to correct you a little bit. So we actually filed 875.
Excuse me. Yes, stand corrected. 800.
Actually, 883 to be exact from my docket that I was just going through last night. So 883. Yes.
So nearly 1,000 trademarks. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for the correction. So Rosina, first, can you just share with everyone listening your journey to becoming a trademark entrepreneur? Trademark business attorney.
Well, I always knew I wanted to be an attorney since I was 5 years old. You know, that question when people are like, well, what you want to be when you grow up? I always say a lawyer. But so what happened was going through the motions, I started having kids young, and I actually was in law school when my son, he's now 18. When I finished, he was 11. My middle child was 7, and then I had a newborn baby. She came my last semester of law school, and I actually started studying for the bar when she was 3 months old. Took the bar when she was 5 months old, and I took the bar in February. And so when you take the bar, you don't get your results until April. So the entire month of March, I had nothing to do. I had just came out of, working and going to school since I was 14 years old. But also I'm a mom. And so I realized sitting, waiting for the bar results, I think that was God's way of telling me, okay, this is your time to sit and be still and really figure out what it is that you're about to do and just learn more about yourself. And what I learned was I missed out on my kids growing up, and I loved being at home when they came home from school. I missed that mommy part of it because I was always working and going to school. And so found out April 1st that year that I actually passed the bar the first time. Thank God. But then I was to the point where I was at this crossroad where I was battling okay, you went to school all this time to become a lawyer, but, now, you're realizing what it is that you missed out on as a mother. And so I actually, so when you pass the bar in Illinois, you have to take professional responsibility courses before you're sworn in by the state to actually accept your license, which takes place in May. And so I took this professional responsibility course, and it was actually taught by one of the professors at my law school that teach lawyers how to start their own law firm. And I was like, that's nothing but God, because at the time I was explaining to the professor, I was like, I'm at this crossroad where, I always wanted to be a lawyer. I passed the bar the first time, but, and I know I always wanted to work for a big law firm because I knew I wanted to do intellectual property law since undergrad. But I was like, I don't want that type of big law firm life because, you have to work 80 hours a week, and I'm a mother, and I've been doing that already, and I don't want to miss out anymore on my kids growing up. And the professor responded by saying, well, you will go a long way serving the underserved. And I was like, no, you're missing it. I don't want to be a criminal attorney. I don't want to be a family attorney. I still want to do intellectual property. And he was like, no, you missing it. You can go a long way serving the underserved. And I was like, what do you mean? And he had to say it another time, a total of 3 times before I caught it. And he was like, who is underrepresented in the practice area that you want to practice in? And I thought about it, and I was like, what, small business owners? And he was like, yes, you can represent small business owners with helping them protect their intellectual property. And I was like, oh my God, you're so right. I can do that. And so that's where my law practice was birthed out of. And so I always say, you know, we represent small business owners, entrepreneurs who feel like legal resources or legal services are not accessible to them because either they can't afford them or they just don't understand why they need them in the first place.
Okay, so can you talk about that a little bit more? Like, why does a business owner, an entrepreneur, need to trademark their business? Because I think a lot of people who go into business, trademark is probably the last thing, if they even think about it at all, to even consider. Because when you go into business, it's all about, okay, what you're selling, is your branding on point, is your marketing on point, your website, like all those things is what most people focus on. But then once you start collecting the coin, but then in reality, you don't even really own the business. So why is it important to even trademark?
Right. And right what you said, because with trademark becomes ownership, right? So a lot of people think, oh, if I file my LLC or I got the domain name to my website, I'm good. I own my business name. And the crazy part is, and how I always illustrate this point is by asking people, will you build a house on land you don't own? And everyone always naturally responds with no. And so I turn around and pose the question, well, why are we building brands and businesses if we don't own them? Just like you said, you can build your website, you can go and get your branding intact, you can go and, you know, have customers coming in. But in the event that that name has not been cleared or someone else acquires ownership to that name, now they can hit you with a cease and desist letter and force you to tear all of that down that you built up and start all over again. It's just like the same concept with building that house on a land that you haven't cleared or you don't own, and someone else comes in and buy the land and say, you know what, I don't want a house on this land. I want it to be a barn, you know, and because they're the landowner, they have that right, just like as far as within trademark law. So trademark law actually vets ownership rights within that name, logo, slogan, or sound. That's the 4 different things that you can actually trademark. And so if you don't acquire ownership first, you can be putting yourself at risk of building up something that someone else can easily take from under you, or you know, or try to force you from not using it anymore.
So have you had a lot of situations where that's happened to your clients where they or they've come to you after the fact, like, can you help me because somebody else has, you know, claimed my business? And is that usually an easy turnaround, or sometimes people just have to completely, you know, say got to start over?
Yeah, that's a really, really great question. So it'll be 7 years in May that we have been in business. And yes, I have seen it all, where people have came to me after the fact and they either have to start over again or they have to pour in more money to fight to get their name back. In trademark law, there is something called prior usage, where if you have prior usage and you can prove you were using it first, it's possible that you can regain ownership back to that name. But here's the thing, like right now, we charge $1,500 to file your trademark, right? But we charge $20,000 to fight to get your trademark back. So either way, so some people would say, well, okay, and that's low cost, right? Because, and the reason why it's $20,000, we charge like a $5,000 retainer to take on the case. But when we're doing this before the USPTO, which is the United States Patent and Trademark Office. If someone files that trademark before you, you have to file what is called an opposition proceeding, or if they have it registered, a cancellation proceeding. And when we go to file that opposition proceeding, the trademark office is going to automatically generate what they call proceeding dates, which is like court dates, all the way out to 2 years out, right? So this is a 2-year proceeding automatically, unless you can resolve this issue via settlement or, you know, beforehand, or because the other person has default. But naturally, automatically, it's a 2-year proceeding. So just because of that, you have to invest a lot of time and money in reclaiming your rights back. So what I try to preach to small business owners is we have to be proactive, not reactive, in securing our brand and protecting our legacy. That's our trademark we own, secure the brand. A lot of people talk about secure the bag, but you have to secure the brand so that you can secure the bag, because you don't want somebody to say, you have to start all over again, or you have to fight because now you're taking the bag to go ahead and try to protect that or regain your rights back. So we have seen some very bad cases. One case where a young lady had been operating, she had a blog, and you can trademark the name of your blog because it's ongoing that you're using it. She had this blog. She's been doing this blogging for 10 years, never protected the name. Someone filed the trademark to that name. And now she was just like, I can't pay to fight for the name back. So she had to change her blog name after 10 years. That, like, you don't want that situation. We had another situation where a young lady, she had just went and ordered 10,000 units in skincare products with a name printed on it that was owned by somebody else. And they requested that she turn over all of those products, because as a trademark owner, you have the legal recourse where the law says that you can demand the infringing products be turned over to you for destruction, to destroy them. Like,
right.
That would blow somebody's mind, right? I had a client who had a restaurant, and he just paid $25,000 for the restaurant sign. Had to turn that over because on that sign bears somebody's trademark. So I always say, when we were younger, we played house, but when we're entrepreneurs and we're doing business, this is not the time to play business or house with our businesses, because there can be some detrimental consequences due to it. And because I'm a lawyer, I kind of see it all. So I'm very, very proactive about just telling people, secure your brand up front. Like, you want to protect it as soon as possible.
So what is the process for this? Like, is this like a 2-month, 3, like, what is the process of actually going through doing the trademark? Because I know you mentioned once you file the paperwork that they have to do some 2-year search. Like, what am I looking at as a business owner if I'm going to say, look, help me, I need the trademark, my name, my slogan, all of this? Like, what is the time?
So the 2-year process is only if you're opposing someone's trademark, or you're trying to get someone's trademark canceled. But now, say for instance, you want to file for trademark. So first thing, before we even engage or take your money, we need to know your name. We do a check to make sure that nobody owns that name or own the name within your category, because certain trademarks can coexist in a marketplace as long as they're not in the same trade or channel. That's why we have Dove Chocolate, Dove Soap, Mac Makeup, Mac Computers, Delta Airlines, Delta Faucet, Pandora Jewelry, Pandora Music. So as long as the trademark is not taken within your industry, then we can proceed. Once we proceed, we send our clients representation agreements and invoices. Once they complete those, we send them then 3 emails. One is a welcome email, just welcoming them to the firm, explaining more about the firm, more about myself, and more about the process. And then we send them access to the client portal, and then we will also send them a client intake form. Now, the client intake form, we need them to complete as soon as possible. The reason being is because we are going to do a search even deeper than what we did before you engage, because it's not about what's the same, but what can be deemed confusingly similar within the trademark industry or within your industry. So for instance, like, you may have luxury hair extensions, you spell luxury with a Y, but if there's a luxury hair extensions with an I, that may be an issue or problem. Just like Starbucks, if you wanted to trademark Starbucks and you said you sell coffee, that might be an issue. So we do a search and then we compile it into what's called our opinion letter, and we issue you the opinion letter, and then we set up a call so we can go through the opinion letter, the search results, discuss them, answer any questions the clients may have, and then talk about strategy. How should we proceed to actually file the application? Once everything is understood, everything is agreeable, and that usually takes about 5 business days, okay? And then once that we have completed that portion, we then go ahead and file the application. Once the application is on file, it does take the government 3 to 4 months to review the application. Once they review the application, they can either approve it or issue an office action. If they approve it, it's going to go to what's called publication for opposition. Publication for opposition allows anyone in the public 30 days to oppose it. So that's that opposition period that we were talking about. That's like 20,000 for that 2-year period. But if no one comes forth and opposes the trademark, then you will have registration within 12 weeks from the 30-day deadline. And then back up, if the trademark office does take issue with the application, they're going to issue what's called an office action. The office action can require either a substantive response or a non-substantive response. If it's a non-substantive response, that means something minor is going on with the application and they just want us to fix it. We'll do that at no additional cost. But now if it's a substantive matter, that means that the government is refusing the trademark on a legal basis. And in order for us to combat that, we will have to respond with a legal brief, which requires legal research and writing. Now, at that point, we do charge an additional rate because now we have to spend more time with your trademark. The good thing is we have 6 months to respond. So we give our clients 3 months to come up with the funds. It's $1,000 extra. And we just ask for 3 months to be able to prepare the brief. Now, all in all, we don't want our clients paying anything in addition to what they paid up front. That's why we do that search in the beginning that I told you about in the opinion letter, so we can try to spot those issues and avoid those issues, because we don't want clients paying for anything that they already paid up front. We try to avoid those issues because it's more time and more money on everybody else, and we don't want that. So that's why it's important too to hire attorneys to do your trademark for you, because we can spot issues that probably you can't spot. And then sometimes people file their own trademark and they may get trademark registration, but when it comes to enforcing that trademark registration, is that trademark registration adequate for your enforcement rights? Which is what the guy who was suing LeBron James for $33 million right now is going to have to deal with, because his application, well, I don't know if it's a he or she, it's a nonprofit organization, but his application, his registration is not that strong based on how it was filed.
Now, I'm not privy. What's the LeBron James situation?
So LeBron James is being sued for $33 million for the trademark I am more than an athlete. So remember I told you there are 45 different classes within trademark law where certain trademarks can coexist in a marketplace. So the person that's suing him, they had their trademark registered since 2012, I believe, but they have it registered for charitable services for selling t-shirts for educational and entertainment purposes, right? So it just sounds like they sell t-shirts to raise money for education, and like that's so broad, it's not really clear. That can be so many different things. And so LeBron James filed the trademark and for educational services, like he was using it on I think HBO or ESPN and things like that. He did like a whole campaign around it. And so the trademark office looked at it like it was different usage, just like Pandora Jewelry, Pandora Music. And it's attracting a different type of consumer for a different purpose. And so the trademark office approved it. And so now that person is opposing it in that publication phase.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But I just too want to just go back to say, like, I knew I threw some big numbers out there because we was talking about bad things that can happen, but to get your trademark on file, it's less than $1,500, right? And so you want to invest that so that you're protecting everything that you're building and investing in front. It's like buying insurance for your business and what you are your resources and your time that you're investing on building up this business.
And that makes sense. And honestly, that it's not a lot of money when you think about other stuff that, I mean, you have people that's charging $3,000 sometimes just to build out a website or, you know, other, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you said, it's best to pay up front with the insurance necessary.
Right.
To make sure that you're securing, and I like what you said, like, make sure you're securing the brand, because we always hear about securing the bag, but you'll lose the bag if you don't own your brand.
Exactly.
So can you talk to, because you are pledging to help at least another 100 women secure her legacy. Can you talk about that, how that initiative has been going so far, and, you know, really what, you know, because there's somebody that's listening and know they need to buy into this necessary trademark insurance, but still telling themselves that this is something that they can wait to do at a later time. And it's like, no, sis, this is something you got to do right now.
Yeah.
So, you know, can you just talk to that one person that's like on the fence, you know, how like, and so I don't even know why this came to my mind, but it's like, you know, when I'm at church and the pastor's like, is somebody else sitting in their seat that needs to come up here at this last altar call? We got somebody that still needs a nudge as to why it's so important for them to, you know, secure their legacy.
Yes. So, and then too, I want to say this too, when you file your trademark and you get your trademark registered, your trademark, you don't have to do anything for at least for the next 5 to 6 years, right? So it's not like your LLC or your corporation where you have to file an annual report. So this is something like, so if you think about it, you're spending less than $300 a year if we can get registration for you to secure that brand for yourself. But also too, you want to do this because you don't want to put yourself, like I have had people call me in tears because they received a cease and desist letter stating that they have to stop using their brand. That young lady who was using her blog for 10 years, you don't want to be that person. And then I always tell people, filing your trademark on a federal level gives you so many benefits, right? One thing is you have exclusive ownership right within your industry to use that name, and you can stop anybody, your competitors, from using anything confusingly similar to that name. Another thing is now you can use the R symbol showing that your trademark is registered, so you're putting people on notice. And then not only that, when you file your trademark, it's on the database, the USPTO, so anybody can look it up and see that you're using it. So that doesn't give an intentional or unintentional infringer the excuse to say, well, I didn't know about you. Like, you're putting people on notice that you exist and your company is there because you are on this federal registry. And not only that, but this is the biggest key. It's a legacy builder, right? I ask people all the time, how long do you think trademarks last? Some people say 50 years, 25 years. Some people say a lifetime. It actually lasts as long as you use it, you will not lose it. As long as you use it, you will not lose it. So it actually can last past your lifetime, which means that it can outlast you. Coca-Cola was registered in 1898. Mercedes was registered in 1901. So what does that tell you? You can pass this trademark to generation to generation. This is a legacy builder that you can build a legacy within your family. It doesn't expire as long as you guys continue to use it. Another thing too is because a trademark is an asset, if you ever wanted to go and sell your business, that valuation of your trademark will be considered towards the valuation of the total cost of the business. Like if you're trying to sell a house, right? And you have a garage, but you don't have a basement, your house may be valued at a lesser amount. Same thing in business. Another thing too, because you have your trademark, if you went to apply for a loan or anything like that, you can use that as valuation towards what the business is worth too. So, I mean, it's just protecting you, building your business, you know. I see so many people who have success stories. I can't wait for our April campaign. We love to do marketing here. So our April campaign is just gonna lay it completely out for you guys why you need to secure the brand. Because if you don't, you're at risk of basically losing it.
Yeah. Just one question, because you mentioned something. So let's just say someone do the trademark, they're successful, they're registered, and they run into a situation where they find maybe somebody is using their trademark. Do you still assist the clients in that process as far as like sending a cease and desist letter and going through those steps if somebody is using their trademark?
Yes, we actually do send cease and desist letters. We help clients get Instagram accounts shut down, Facebook accounts shut down. We help clients do like low cost enforcement. High cost enforcement is where you have to go to litigation. We will, if it's something that needs to go to litigation, we will assist our clients in helping them find a litigator to actually bring a lawsuit. Because one thing we have to think about is what state should we actually bring this lawsuit in? And the benefit of actually having trademark registration is because you have a federal registered trademark, you now can sue them in federal court. You can sue under the Lanham Act, under common law usage as well, but you get so many benefits, so many more benefits if you have that registration as well. So we do help with cease and desist letters. We do help get accounts shut down, websites shut down if we can, but sometimes you will have to go to court if that is necessary. And most of the time it's usually small business versus small business. And ain't nobody trying to go to court because that's a lot of money they have to spend. So we never even had a client that had to go that far. But sometimes there's a situation where you're a small business and you have to sue a big business. Now, most big businesses don't want that kind of press, don't want that kind of publicity that they have, infringed on a smaller business name. But in the case that you have to, there are people out here that's willing to help you and take that lawsuit to court. For instance, there's a Georgia company, a small business company, woman-owned ran business here in Georgia that is taking Target to court for trademark infringement right now. And that's one reason why you want to make sure that you have secured your brand. Let me tell you, small business owners are the trendsetters for the market. And a lot of big businesses look to the small businesses to see what are they doing, because now we have an easy way of communicating with the consumers due to social media. And so you want to make sure you're protected from that big giant, because guess what? If they file that trademark first and you've been doing this business, now you have to go up against their big bucks to even make your case that you were the first user or you were the one that they stole this from. So you want to have that registration in place first, because that kind of gives you the, that kind of helps you where you don't even have to prove ownership once you get to court. You just have to prove that they stole it from you.
So Rosina, can you just share with everybody listening how they can follow you, any upcoming projects, retreats, anything like that you have that they can take full advantage of?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for that. I always forget that. First thing, follow me at the Biz Lawyer on Instagram. That's TheBiz Lawyer. And I think by the time people will be viewing this, we will be in Miami at our business retreat already. But if you are interested in our upcoming retreats, make sure you reach out to us. The reason I have a coaching program called Marks of a Mogul, it's a business coaching program, is because in 2019, we used to do business law, we used to do contract law, but we cut all of that and we are a full service trademark firm now. But I do have a lot of clients that come to me for a lot of business advice and legal advice when it comes to making business moves. So we decided to come up with this coaching program, which is Marks of a Mogul, where we talk about different business strategies and business moves to help grow and scale your business. So we do have retreats for that as well. So follow us at the Biz Lawyer on Instagram and you will be able to catch that. And I think by the time this airs, we will have had our Women's History event, which is Secure Her Legacy, which is March 20th in Atlanta, where it's a free event. We're doing a free event for women entrepreneurs because we want to give back during Women's History Month and honor women entrepreneurs and just teach them why it's very important to secure their brand so that they are securing their legacy, so they are making history within their business.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Like, I know you taught me a lot, things that, just when you get into business, everybody is Googling everything. So we all think we're Google lawyers. But it's so good to be able to get in front of a trademark attorney that, has a lot of experience, that can speak to a lot of what, those coming into business are in business that they have questions around. So I just want to thank you for your time, your expertise, all the gems you dropped today on everybody. I'm sure that they were definitely impacted. But everyone, thank you so much for joining the Business Retreat 2.0 virtual experience. Thank you again to Rosina, the Biz Lawyer. Make sure you follow her, support everything that she's doing.
And can I just say one more thing? Feel free, do not be afraid. Just send me a DM if you have a general question. And if you have an elaborate question, that's fine too. You can also email us at info@rjpiercelaw.com. It's best to DM us at the Biz Lawyer. That way we can give you the proper email address so you're not emailing the wrong person. But feel free to send us if you have a question, or we can direct you in the right place so that we can get you an answer.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Rosina.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for inviting me to your platform. I think what you're doing is amazing, and I can't wait to look at the other speakers and what they have to contribute and what they're talking about. So I appreciate you so much just for including me in this series. I think this is amazing.
Thank you, of course.
Thank you. Take care.